Hello, I'm H. I'm your host for Bad Drinks TV. A little bit about myself. Well, I've been working in bars for almost 30 years. It's fast approaching, and believe me, I can feel it every time I get out of bed in the morning. I've worked in everything from strip clubs, working man's clubs, pubs, taverns, coffee shops. In the high-end bars I used to work in England, they used to literally check your teeth. And in England, trust me, yeah, not a good thing. Now I work in the second, I think we are now the second smallest bar in Canada, and it's called Gift Shop. It's a tiny little place. If you are easily offended, not used to certain things, please f*** off right now. This is an R-rated show, okay? R-rated. This is for adults. If you can't handle it, go back to your f***ing sandpit that you came from. You can see just by my t-shirt alone, it's going to be rather offensive. I do curse, I have a rather an open mind, have a very colourful past. And if you have children, and I know a few of you have, I've got a lot of respect for parents. I consider you some of the most amazing guests I've ever had in my life. But if you do have children, make sure they're not in earshot, because they will hear it and they will use it against you. So guys, here we go. Welcome to the show. Now, what I want to try and do with Bad Drinks TV is get you to really open up and experiment and have some fun making cocktails. Right? That's what's important. I want you to enjoy yourself and don't feel too frightened by it. I want this to give you a bit of power. It's good fun. Unfortunately, to drink a bit too much and you're going to feel like the next day. That is not my responsibility. That's yours. We're going to talk about the 6 essential cocktails according to Embury's Fine Art of Mixing Drinks. This was published in 1948. A little thing about the author, he was a lawyer, and of course obviously he offended and ruffled a few feathers of bartenders, but then as you can imagine, bartenders even today are still arrogant pricks, and it's just the way we are, and I apologize for half of us. What he did was, he said that there were 6 essential cocktails that you should know, and according to him, and in no discernible order, they are the Martini, the Old Fashioned, the Daiquiri, the Manhattan, the Jack Rose, and Sidecar. Today we're going to be talking about the Old Fashioned. This book is by Robert Simonson. It's really good. It's really not too crazy hard to read, and it gives you some really good insights into cocktails, because to make an Old Fashioned, there are so many different ways in which it can be made, and the reason why I chose the Old Fashioned first is it's the original definition that people use today for what we call the cocktail. And basically in 1806, a wonderful letter was written to the editor of the Hudson Bay Repository newspaper, and the letter is, "What is a cocktail?" And the editor responded by saying that basically it is a spirituous libation of both spirits, sugar, bitters, and water, which is usually through ice for the dilution. And that's now become what most people call the definition of a cocktail. It doesn't actually have to be whiskey. Right? It can be almost any spirit. You can have gin, Genevieve, tequila, or mezcal, or rum. However, when you do go to a bar, if you do ask and just say, "Can I have an Old Fashioned?" you will most likely get a whiskey-based drink. Okay, so now we're going to make the actual drinks. We're going to do 3 versions of an Old Fashioned with 3 different types of sugar and whiskey. Now, what I love about the Old Fashioned, and when I'm teaching the Old Fashioned to my staff, is to imagine the pure concentration of flavor. Okay, so when you're adding the whiskey, the bitters, and the sugar together in one lump sum, you've got this like incredibly bitter flavor, right? So if you try it without any dilution, your body's just going to go, "What the f are you doing to me?" So the idea is, and this is what somebody taught me and gave me really good advice on in the past about when it comes to stirring a drink, is you want to lengthen that flavor, okay? And you want to do it through the dilution, okay? And this is where we're going to talk about how things have slightly evolved from the whiskey cocktail we have now, the Old Fashioned, to what it was in the past. In 1862, Jerry Thomas published his first ever cocktail book, and in it he talks about a whiskey cocktail. And the whiskey cocktail was lemon, broker's bitters, sugar, and whiskey, and it was shaken. And then 10 years later, it suddenly changed to adding a whole load of fancy liqueurs and aperitifs and digestifs from France and Italy. Now, the best story I have about how really the whiskey cocktail, the old-fashioned that we have now, evolved from the whiskey cocktail of 1862 is imagine two people like me, grumpy old that would go into the bar and they saw this fancy going in their whiskey cocktails and they'd be just going, what the I don't want this. No, I wanted just an old-fashioned whiskey drink. And so what happened was really we ended up with what we're about to do now. So we need 1 glass. You're going to need a peeler. We're going to need a knife. We're also going to need bitters, sugar. I'm going to do the lot 40 for this one. And we're also going to need trusty flat top bar spoon, or otherwise known as a Bonza bar spoon. These are really quite cheap to get, so you can find them almost anywhere. All right, so, and of course you're going to need ice, okay? Now, ice-wise, if you're going to do it, try and get stuff that's, you know, big blocks, okay? Don't get the little chisel-y McDonald's shitty ice, whatever it's called. That's designed for mass production. So, now how we're talking about expanding the flavors and understanding how to use the sugars. So, as you can imagine, this sugar we've turned into a bog standard 1-to-1 ratio, or known as simple. Now, what I like to do when you're starting it is just add a little. I'm just going to do 2 bar spoons of sugar first, okay? All right, that's important. Because if you want to add more sugar, you can, but just start less. 10 mils or less is pretty much all you need. I then like to add good 4 dashes of mango. All right. Might also need a cloth, but there we go. There you go. Add 2 nice large measures of whiskey. All right. Before we do add ice and stuff first, I just want to talk about something called where people rim, or others known as rim jobs. I'm not even into it sexually either, but I see a lot of bartenders doing this, and it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. And if you're going to be doing this in your own home bar, can you try not to do this? Frack, frack, frack. They do this bit, that's really good. But then they start doing this. They start thinking they're trying to do a Van Gogh on my glass. So they go like that, and then they paint it all the fucking way over. I'm like, what the Okay, it's in the fucking drink. You don't need to, I don't orange oil all over my fingers and my lips. So please, don't do that, okay? Right, now, add the ice. Add only a little bit first, okay? That's about enough, all right? And then, just stir, okay? Now what I like to do, sometimes, get a little claw, all right? Add there. If you want to, just grab like so, and then do this. Make sure you don't go too much on the dilution, okay? And it's also about the fact that you've got the sugar already in there, the bitters are already in there, dilution is coming through the ice, and you've got the whiskey. So we're now expanding that flavor. So your palate will go, oh, cool, this actually tastes rather good, all right? Because an old-fashioned is a lovely drink. But this you can do in under 2 minutes, all right? There we go. Now, first off, get a spoon as well, straw, sorry. And then, I think that's rather good as it is. Okay, bit more ice, there we go. So, a little oil, not doing a rim job, just a little bit of oil over the top. All you have to do, simple, okay? Got the knife, because for this one, I'm just going to do a nice, simple little garnish. Smooth it all off, like so. Give you a little twist over the top. Enjoy, motherfuckers. That's not bad. All right, that's a good bog standard little old fashioned, okay? There's also one other garnish I'd like to talk about that I also have a bit of a pet peeve.
Oh, frack.
So we have the rim job, or the rimming thing. If you are going to have to do the whole rimming thing and want to look really quite cool, all right? Supposedly there was a whole fucking talk about this at some drink conference a long time ago. So what you can do is this, okay? So instead of trying to do a Van Gogh on my drink or someone else's drink, did a little oil. Just do that, and then just do that, and there you go. And that's it, guys. That's all you have to do, okay? Now we're going to talk about another one. This one is a real pet peeve of mine when it comes to garnishes. So I'm going to show you this. This is unreal. Okay, basically this is called rabbit ears, they call it, which is doing this. So it's a lemon and an orange, both in the glass like so. I call this Bugs Bunny taking a shit in my drink. I've seen some where the ears have been up to here. That's my own personal preference. It's up to you if you like the idea. I think if you're going to do it, just do, you know, that and like that, and then maybe just sort of fold together as best as you can and just put them in together like so. Okay, that's a little better. So there you go. So just do the garnishes, simplistic and as easy as you possibly can, because this is just a nice, simple, old-fashioned. So now we're going to go on to a little bit more of how I do an old-fashioned for my standard one at my bar. I know this is going to be a whole can of worms for some bartenders. Well, you all, because I tested on my guests and they seem to love it. It was actually by accident that I actually came ahead and did this. I basically had some leftover brown dark sugars. So we have turbinado, muscovado, and demerara. I thought, well, why not? Let's put all these together into one super rich syrup. I put all three of these sugars together to a 3-to-1 sugar ratio. So this is a 1-to-1, all right? That's all that is, all right? Look at that, nothing, right? But this is what I made instead. Look at that. Oh, look at the thickness of that mother. Loving it. This is what I did. Now, the flavors are like cooking, it's like cake and baking. So you've got cocoa, vanillas, chocolate fudge, a little bit of coconut, and so for me, into the old-fashioned that I make for my house, it's just really brings out the flavor of the bourbon. So what we do at this little bar, and what I've been doing now for quite a few years now here, is been making this syrup. Okay, and I call it like a ritual. I really love making it. So hopefully when you see the video of me making this syrup, you'll understand how I get rather enthusiastic about it. So here we go. We're going to use, this is what I use, Four Roses, as I spoke earlier. I do like this whiskey. I think it's a great well whiskey that I use to make my old fashions with. So get a nice glass, as you do. Now, here's the key. So all you need is literally just a little bar spoon. That's it. 5 milliliters or less. That's all you need. You don't need much. Then we add 1, 2, 3, and then get one more for luck. All right, so 4 dashes. Okay. Oh yeah, baby. I love whiskey. All right. So now we add nice 2 big measures of bourbon, and of course ice. Okay. So yes, so I say again, this is what I like doing. I like to do this. It's kind of fun. I learned this from one of my staff actually. You never stop learning. So go like so and just keep stirring. And then here it is, add a little bit more, and just keep adding a little bit of ice, okay? So you imagine again, I'm talking about expanding that flavor. And this is where you can have a bit of fun. Play with all the sugars. See which ones you like, see what you want to use, what kind of flavors you're looking for. All right, it's important, you know? Don't have to stick with just one type of sugar. Mix up the sugars, mix up the bitters, mix up the spirits. Have fun, really enjoy doing what you're doing. Okay, but I would advise you, please eat. All right, and you will have a bit of a headache tomorrow if you drink enough. Okay, have a very simple rule when it comes to cocktails. It's called 1 to 10. Okay, 1 cocktail, well, 0 cocktails, you're going to be just fine. 10 is where, oh, do I get cocaine or not? You know, right? Yeah, that's the time, and we've all been there. Whoever's denying it is lying through their teeth. All right, going by the amount of cocaine found on toilets. Yeah, we do cocaine. I don't. I've been good. I've been a very clean boy for decades now. All right, so I'm all pure. I like waking up clear-headed. Thank. Love the flavors. Don't have to put too much sugar in there. Those flavors interact really well with American whiskeys and bourbons, okay, and of course rye. And with this one, obviously, what I do though is I have cocktail picks. All right, so same again, no rim job, just the oil. And then what I do is just fold it up a little bit, and I collect cocktail picks, and I find them from all over the place. And here we go, these are them. You will find these on my Pinterest site, a company that makes these.
So stop stealing from my bar or other people's bars.
Go like so, not all the way. And there we go. So here we go. This is my standard old fashioned that I make. Thank you and enjoy. Oh, that's good. Thank you. Now we're going to do what I call a highballer, the high roller, or whatever, but basically the me, myself and I old fashioned. Now, actually in Embury, he was talking about how if you're using raw sugar cubes, which are these, that it takes up to 20 minutes to make the drink. No, it doesn't. Okay, there is a little knack, a little skill that you can learn to use to make it a bit faster. Now, when it comes to what we're talking about with the old fashions and the evolution of the drink, there are a lot of different ways that it's made, and you'll see that in this book, and also he mentions it as well. We're talking about the idea that when you get an old fashioned, a lot of people have put like muddled oranges or pineapple and some of those glow in the dark cherries. Please try and avoid any fruit that sort of glows in the dark. It's not a good sign, okay? Please try and stay away from it. I was in a little French bistro once, and this guy comes in, I'll say he was in his 70s at least, and he asked me how I do my old fashioned, and he went, no, I don't like it like that. I said, okay, so how do you want it? So this is what I had to do. I had to put in a white sugar cube, a little bit of the bitters, a slice of orange, one little cherry, a whole load of whiskey, muddle it slightly, put in the ice, drop some soda, and stirred, and that's what he wanted. Okay, now bearing in mind, all right, this guy was a 70-year-old Kentuckian. He'd been making this drink the same way and been drinking it this way for over 50 years. That's longer than I've been born. So that's still an old-fashioned, a Kentuckian old-fashioned. And you'll also find that there's a lot of them where, especially in the old drinks and old cocktail books like Modern American Drinks by George Kapler, which also has it served with a spoon. That's also, some people believe it's because they wanted to spoon out the excess fruit salad, basically, that was in their cocktail, and also to dilute a little bit more their whiskey how they wish. In fact, there's even some recipes where they literally gave you the breakdown of an old-fashioned. They gave you sugar, whiskey, bitters, water, and ice, and you literally made it yourself. Okay? So, what I'm going to do now is how I do a little bit more of a high-end old-fashioned. So this is my Bonza or Urban bar spoon, or actually this is really, I call this the Wayne Collins bar spoon. We got our strainer here that I'm going to be using, a jigger, a pair of tweezers, but this is really just pride and ego. But it also makes it look better for my guests. And then, right, here it is. So, for the high end, the high roller, or the me, myself and I old fashioned. This is where we have to talk about bar spoons a little bit. So, this flathead one that you get from the Urban bar spoon, or otherwise known as the Wayne Collins bar spoon. He's a very great bartender, by the way. He created this spoon, very smart. Now, you want this kind of beveling inside, which will help with the grinding, okay? And of course, the usual peeler, bitters, and then we're gonna go for the whiskey. Here it is. This is the whiskey we're gonna use. I do love Michter's. This is a lovely little high-end one. So as I said earlier, this is the one that you don't share with anyone unless you really, really, truly love them. as I am single and celibate, I don't give a shit. This is all mine, me, myself, and I. So f everybody else. And this is where we're going to do it now. All right, so there we go. Find yourself, I like to use nice, good raw sugar, get a nice, good size. That's good, it's pretty cool. I like that one. Then get a bit of, give it a good soaking. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, now, here's the thing. This is where it takes a little bit of time, all right? And this is where we're going to talk a little bit more about the old fashioned, a little bit of a recap. Because just do the 1 ounce, pour it in. Now you just want to wait a little while, okay? This is where you want to be a little bit more patient, okay? So you got to imagine you're creating this lovely little factory, little flavor factory going on in here. So you got your sugar, you got your bitters, you got your bourbon, but you're wanting to try and get that sugar cube to break down a little bit. So it's going to take a little while. This is where you can talk to your friend about the stories or what you've read about the old fashioned or how your day's been, and you know who's pissed you off or who you've suddenly fallen in love with. You never know. It's all those wonderful things that we all have about life. Okay, so if you go in a bar and you ask for an old fashioned, you're going to get a whiskey one. Okay, unless you say you want like a Oaxaca, or you want a just a tequila, or you want a rum, and if you're wanting a dark rum or an amber rum or a blanco rum. I even heard ones, heaven forbid, that's a vodka old fashioned. But I will never make one in this bar because I don't sell vodka. So now we've let that soak for a little while longer. Okay, right, now there we go. See this should now start to, there we go. See, breaks down really easy. Now I do a little action like this because you're doing basically a little mini pestle and mortar inside the glass. So what I do is do this and then twist the glass at the same time, all right? And you want to break down those crystals of the sugar. And there we go. Right, now, so now we've got this nice core base, okay? Still keep the same bar spoon in there because you still want that. Now we're gonna add a bit of ice, all right? Not too much to start with, don't need to. Now you stir. So, same again. And you start to stir it. But try and keep it into the bottom because you want to break down that sugar. All right, these crystals, they're hard. Then add a bit more sugar, a bit more ice. Add another ounce of bourbon. Okay. Yeah, you can still keep talking to your friend if you want to, or just get a mirror and talk to yourself. Sometimes it's the best conversations I have in there, and you'll see you've only got a few little bits of sugar left, okay? And it's almost all gone. It's almost all dissolved in there. Where you just got to test where you are with your sugar now. So look. Oh yeah, baby. So just a little bit longer. That does happen, by the way. Not perfect, it will happen. Now, I like to get a nice big rock. Occasionally I have them. Here we go. That's actually not too bad. Maybe add just one little one. It'll work. There we go. Look at that. Oh. Now, with this, I actually like lemon. Okay. You can do orange, obviously. I had a customer actually liked it with lime. All right. I'm not a fan of the fruit salad old-fashioned, but there we go. Nice little thing with the oil. Do this again. Get a nice little cocktail pick. I love these ones. These are really quite cool. Go only a little bit of the way. Put a section right there. And here we have my high-end bourbon old-fashioned. And please enjoy this thing. Oh, me, that's the dog's bollocks. So, here we recap quickly. Choose the bitters you want to do. Try the sugars. Either have them raw, which I showed you how to make by muddling it down, or turning it into a syrups. And then we go to the whiskies. These are the ones you want to have with friends and family and a party. These are the ones you want to have a bit more on your own or with really choice friends. And this is the one, or what, a high-end one, or stupidly high-end you want to go with, which is a me, myself, and I, or just a you. Just keep it to yourself. And there we go. So guys, thank you very much for enjoying episode 1 of Bad Drinks TV. I'm your host, H. Yes, my t-shirts will get more and more elaborate as we go along, so let's hope you're open-minded. And off and get home safe. Ta-da. That is wrap, motherfucker.